Третий канал английский. Третий канал английский. 1, 2, 3, 5, 105. Что там?
Второй канал русский язык 1, 2, 3, раз, два, три, русский язык, второй канал. Английский язык. Английский слишком наза. У меня английский. 1, 2, 3, раз, два, три, 4, 5, 6, 7. Английский язык.
Раз, два, три, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, английский канал. Я не могу при переводчиках читать на английском, они будут смеяться. Особенно three. Дерево, дерево. 1, 2, 3, раз, два, три, раз, два, три, раз, два, три. 1, 2, 3, раз, два, три, 1, 2, 3.
Уважаемые участники форума, просьба вернуться в зал и занять свои места. Мы продолжаем. Уважаемые дамы и господа, просьба занимать свои места.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats as we're ready to start. We're keen to resume the work of our forum.
Ну что ж, я думаю, мы готовы.
I think we are ready to start. I must say that our forum can be called international since the speakers invited are representing not only Kazakhstan. As I promised, we will hear some benchmark experience from around the globe about occupational safety, and we see representatives of different international companies here with us today. This module is dedicated to three areas that are actively developing in the company. The first block is people. Second, ensuring safety in operation of technological equipment. And third block is prevention of emergency situations. The first block dedicated to people, dedicated to engagement of people and display of personal commitment. I think it's the topic that we can discuss until the end of time. And we have a video message from the other side of the globe, from Australia. The video is coming from Chris McWade, Operations Director, Occupational Health and Safety and Risk, Gascon Resources, and the Red or H&S Group. He has worked here at one of the largest projects in Kazakhstan and has first-hand experience about occupational safety. He also made his contribution into occupational safety in Kazakhstan. So please.
Good morning from Australia. My name is Chris McQuaid, and I'm pleased to be here to share your forum on industrial safety, dedicated to the safe and healthy future of work. I'm here because I'm passionate about everybody, every day, getting to go home to their family. I'm a seasoned safety professional, having worked in open cut and underground mines, major hazard facilities across Australia, Kazakhstan and West Africa. And today I'll be sharing some views about leadership and safety culture, golden rule #1 as part of Vision Zero. 2 key points. Sustained change is difficult. Its success is determined by the persistent and consistent visible felt leadership behaviours of the executive team. In defining your targets, consider your measures of success carefully, especially if they form part of the leadership financial or recognition reward system. As an example of what persistent and visible felt leadership might look like, I'll share with you a story around intervention. It was a major hazard facility that treated molten metal at over 1,000 degrees centigrade. Our program was just one part of an overall safety transformation program. It started with all leaders, all employees and contractors. They were provided with skills training on intervention that include why leadership was seeking this change. Each session was opened by the General Director, and each session had a director present to ensure that they were able to answer questions right there and then. That meant that there were 70 sessions across site. As part of the process, everybody developed their own personal creed. A creed is a guide by which we live by, and mine still is, I never walk by. How did we embed this behaviour into our work process? Well, every day for 4 months, the General Director and every director attended pre-start meetings. And they asked an employee, would you like to share your creed with us? And how you lived your creed the previous day. And what we found is the story started from within the team. But over time, the story started to move across the site and then even outside of site into the community. So our employees were intervening with their neighbours around safety. Wow, what a cultural change. Design your safety cultural behaviours carefully, because if you don't design them, you'll get what you get. Some examples of behaviours that you might be interested in based on caring include: we will stop the job if we believe that it's unsafe. We will intervene with our colleague if we think they're unsafe. We will identify hazards and we will control risks. Now, as leaders, what do we want from our leaders? We want them to listen to our employees. That is not easy. As leaders, we're going to set you up for success. We will ensure that you are competent and have the right tools for the job. As leaders, we are going to learn from incident investigations, not seek to apportion blame. Because the evidence is out there. If you seek to apportion blame, that will drive reporting underground. Define your targets carefully. Be very careful in linking your lag indicator performance measures such as lost time injury frequency rate to leadership financial or recognition reward systems. Take it from us in Australia, we've done this very poorly. As they've been linked to reward systems, what's happened? Guess what? They've gone down. The rewards have gone up. Has this really changed? No, it drove reporting underground. So look at enablers. Enablers will give you feedback on your Vision Zero journey. And some of those include key competencies for hazard identification and risk control, undertaking periodic workforce perception surveys, so you can actually see over time how your employees are feeling, and maybe trust is going up and fear is going down. As part of continuous improvement, there will be lots of actions. So are we completing those actions on time? And those controls that we're putting in place, spending a lot of effort putting in place, are they effective? Let's go out and measure them. And let's not forget our leaders. It's really tough on change. Our leaders potentially are going through the biggest change, the highest anxiety. So how are we going to set them up for success and build their competencies to lead this change? And lastly, I'd like you to consider how you measure fatality risks and the controls around fatality risks. So where possible, adopt the philosophy of process safety for fatality risk. I was fortunate to attend a safety forum that was opened by the former CEO of Rio Tinto, Sam Walsh, some years ago. And I recorded some of the key points he said on that day. And I'd like to share with you today what he said. We're here because we care for our people. This is the only reason he was there, because he cared for his people. Safety is Rio Tinto's #1 priority. It is more important than production. Can you believe that? More important than costs, more important than profits and timing. He was serious. His behaviours every day, every week aligned to this statement. He suggested that we forget about safety, statistics. We should introduce caring, because caring is what it's all about. It's about our people. And what makes this happen? It is leadership that makes this happen. So in summary, the Vision Zero journey is driven through persistent and consistent visible felt leadership. This is your golden rule #1. We all acknowledge that change is difficult. It is confronting. It is uncertain. It raises anxiety levels in all of us. Sustainable change programs are well designed and executed. They just don't happen by chance. The behaviours of the leaders at all levels will determine the safety culture. So what safety culture do you want? Thank you for the opportunity of sharing some thoughts with you today. And I hope that you will challenge each other so that everybody, every day, gets to go home to their family.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Далее с презентацией на тему.
And we'll move on to discuss the coaching program about safe behavior. It's going to be Jangazi Bulhair, coordinator on occupational health and safety from Ajib Karachiganak, health safety environment coordinator, Ajib Karachiganak. Good morning, already good afternoon, dear friends. It's over 12 p.m. Dear participants of the forum, on behalf of our company, I would like to thank for this opportunity, and let me share the initiatives dedicated to training and capacity building. Special attention certainly goes to improvement of safety culture, dedication of leadership and management, their engagement in the everyday work. Therefore, we would like to share with you our initiative, our program, which is safe behavior at work. In terms of this indicator, if you look at international oil and gas companies, the participation of human being is one of the key factors that often leads to fatal outcome. Human factor is present in many institutions. So, in other words, with the human efforts, we basically end up with unsafe behavior, unsafe situations in production. There are clear, obvious reasons related to human factor, such as failure to observe rules, procedures, instructions, and departure from them. And there are more hidden ones, more covert ones, if you like, that transpire only as a result of investigation of accidents. So therefore, many of you may know Hudson Stairs on the safety culture, and many companies wonder how is it possible to improve the culture of safety. According to Hudson Stairs, we can see that the company needs to make sure that they improve the culture of safety by the gradual transformation in making it incremental, by attributing certain values to the staff, instilling them, engaging them into processes, and thus changing their behavior. That means that even when the employee is not observed, even when he's unseen by anyone, he still stands for his values, and he operates safely, he performs his job duties safely. Our company has applied and introduced a systemic approach by developing a training program for our coaches. This program consists of a few modules that represent different competence levels. So this program is aimed designed for 4 months, and it includes different departments, different divisions, not only HSE department, but also from production, logistics, drilling department, and so on. We also see a selection process, so it's not that easy to become a coacher, and the selection process is rigorous. So we indeed attach great importance and attention to the length of experience. It should be 5 years as minimum, and certain competence in terms of health and safety. So corporate knowledge of corporate procedures, instructions, system of occupational safety, and the golden rules. So as a result, we were able to establish a platform among the staff of the companies. This program was introduced in 2021, and from 21 through 2022, we have produced 97 qualified coaches. That's around the globe, where the company is operating. What makes this program so unique is that this staff, they have an opportunity to share information and database related to the behavior. In 2023, we're planning to train another 23 coaches and keep doing this program. This program enables us to set up a engagement bridge between the executors, the working personnel, and engage them thoroughly in health and safety issues. So we had to influence their behavior by scrupulous observation over the working practices, by helping them identify and assess risks, and by giving them constructive feedback.
We believe that this program will positively impact the further development of health and safety in our company, and the small changes in our behavior every day can lead to significant changes in our work. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. The second block is also important, which is about ensuring safety during the operation of technological equipment. Technically operational equipment and its proper operation according to the technology and according to the rules. This is an important rule for the safe work. That's what our further speakers are going to talk about. Let us welcome Luisa Arandia, Director of Finch Global. Finch Global delivers global support to the company to enter the markets of other countries in the area of oil and gas. The topic of Ms. Arandia and how to ensure safety while operating technological equipment. Please, welcome. The floor to you.
Добрый день.
Good day.
Today we're going to talk about provision of safety in equipment and maintenance. You know, when we talk about safety, safety is something, it cannot be compromised. We think that safety is something from the past, and we all remember Piper Alpha in 1988, 167 people died. And you think, okay, we're going to learn our lessons. It will never happen again. And then we move 13 years ago now, Macondo disaster, 11 people died. But here we have something that happened less than 30 days ago, less than a month ago, Mexico. You know, catastrophe like this is still happening. So we are not learning our lessons, or we need to do more, okay? We heard today 9 people lost their lives in Kazakhstan, okay? That's 9 lives too many. We need to do something to improve that. And when we look, you know, why did this happen? And 2 things that come straight, you know, the infrastructure, lack of maintenance. It's very important that we take care of this. And then we cut our budget on safety. You know, that's an easy target. But that's the culture we need to change here if we want to move forward and have a safety culture. My name is Luis Arandia. I'm originally from Bolivia. I moved to the UK when I was 17, went to university in Aberdeen, Scotland, and I've been living there since then. I have lived and worked in nearly 30 countries around the world. I have worked in 4 continents, and I have met a lot of great people, and it's a great pleasure to be here and sharing my experience with you. Today, what we're going to discuss is equipment reliability assurance, something that is very important, and I was glad to hear today from Kazakhstan, for example, how important this is for the business. You know, when we talk about the assurance of reliability of equipment, this is so important. And we need to change, we need to adapt, and we have the software, we have the technology to use. So these tools can help us to do a better job, to program or maintenance. You know, if you don't do this, if you don't make this change, imagine you driving on a motorway and you break down. It's exactly the same thing. When your equipment breaks down in a job, create delays, the client is annoyed, but most important, sometimes that can lead to an accident. Why do you have accidents? Because when you lose time, your equipment breaks down, you put the operator under pressure, and when people are under pressure, make mistakes. So this is a way to use existing technology. We don't have to, you can buy off the shelf and apply it to every single business. And I know in Kazakhstan this already happened, but this will also help to improve our safety. Digitalization. I heard a lot about digitalization, and it's great to hear it. We're talking about the digitalization map for Kazakhstan. But I want to use this example. You know, we have software now that we can actually drill a well without a single piece of paper. And this is not something for the future. This is now, okay? We can use all our vendors, all our contractors in one platform, keep everybody informed, share the information. All the approvals, we don't have to wait for a piece of paper to be signed. It's all online. There's accountability. Everybody can see. And this is about working together. There is a culture when we work in the oil and gas industry. It's them and us, or us and them, the operator and the service provider. Remember, we are in this together. This is a dangerous environment, and we have these tools that can actually help to do our jobs. Proactive tools for accident prevention. I'm going to use this example on nitrogen pump, nitrogen converter, because nitrogen is something that you use during the life of any asset in the oil and gas industry. During the construction, pre-commissioning, commission, maintenance, and also in the decommissioning. So this pump, basically, what it does, convert the liquid nitrogen into gas, and then we pump gas, and we pressurize the system. You can do the job with just the pump. But if you add a tool like this OPP skid that is designed to shut down the pump in case something happened to the operator, we make a mistake, and we continue pumping. If we don't have this piece of equipment, you know, a disaster can happen. So there are tools that we can use to prevent accidents. And when we don't use this equipment, things like this can happen. Unfortunately, this is, you know, from the past, but these accidents are still happening. So what we need to do from this is learn and make sure that the equipment we use is the correct equipment for the job, and we don't have to cut cuts in this. There's more examples, you know, disasters when we don't use the correct equipment, or because somebody wanted to save some costs. But when accidents like this happen, it's too late, you know? All the projects get delayed, then it's a massive cost, people's lives are lost. So it's important to use the right equipment for the job, but also very important to use it every time. You know, we have the data, we have the equipment, but the most important, we need to have skilled, competent people who actually is going to execute, who is going to interpret that data, who is going to inspect the equipment, is going to inspect every day and take some actions, repair, do the maintenance. Without the people, we cannot do our job. So we need to train our people, yeah, so they can carry out the inspection, but as a competent person. And we need to combine the technology, the equipment, and most important, the people to execute the job every time. You know, I think we have the equipment. We have to make sure that it works every time. We have the proactive tools. We have the digitalization. We have the trained people and personnel. All these resources are available. We can all work together to create a safe environment, a safety culture. By doing this, I know we will create a safer, more sustainable, successful, and prosperous future for our industry, for our workforce here in Kazakhstan and international. Rahmet.
Thank you very much. Ну что ж, со следующим докладом.
So the next report is about the ensuring safety while operation of technological equipment, and the floor goes to Inga Kanalieva that represents Halliburton International. Please, the floor to you. Good day, distinguished colleagues. I am glad to welcome you at today's forum. I would like to discuss the safe operation of technological equipment, and we will share some other relevant topics. Well, first of all is maintenance and repair of equipment. That's what Halliburton company implements on a daily basis, and we do this with other clients that we work with. This is one of the most important aspects that we must follow. Another one is ensuring the reliability of equipment in production, the use of proactive tools to prevent accidents, as we know that safety culture is our top priority as an international company. And the last one is know-how in the digitalization of production processes and the implementation at the technological sides. So the topic is about the technical inspection and repair of the equipment. I would like to talk about this because the success and the reliability of this equipment depends on the team that implements technical inspection. The second is about people who implement repairs. We're talking about the operators and engineers that were properly trained, and it's about prevention of breakdowns throughout the whole life cycle of operation of the equipment and the personnel that is involved here. Another important topic is the procurement of the relevant equipment for repair, all the spares that we use at the production, the industrial sites, at the sites of our clients. When Halliburton implements its work, we use high-quality accessories and spares, and we closely control this process. And the last is the timely monitoring of the technical condition of the equipment, and it must be done at least once per shift. Our operators and engineers that work at technological sites, they control the quality of the equipment, the condition of this equipment. They have special logs, and they have daily control during 2 shifts, during the day and night. Key aspects is ensuring the reliability of equipment, like what can we do as a company that implements know-how, new technologies, and that complies with all safety rules. The key aspect here is ensuring the reliability of equipment, and it's done with the use of all the relevant and needed equipment and techniques needed here in Kazakhstan. The second aspect is about training the personnel. On a daily, weekly, monthly, and quarter basis, we improve the knowledge of our industrial personnel. We train our people, and we have a really high level of knowledge of industrial process. The training of engineering and technical personnel, these are the people who are involved in the processes like inspection, control of operators, and we also work in order to make sure that on the side of the clients and the sites where Halliburton people work, we make sure so that the knowledge of engineering and technical personnel comply with the relevant criteria, and of course it's about the relevant certification. We also have latest technologies that we implement in Kazakhstan, in Azerbaijan, in Uzbekistan. It's CIS countries. It's about VR, virtual reality, robotics, and drones. These are additional technologies that can help companies to improve the reliability of the equipment. This is one of new technologies that are being implemented since 2023 in CIS countries. Next, it's about compliance with the safety techniques, prevention of various accidents during the technological production processes. We strictly control the quality of our operation as an international company. We have more than 150 supervisors who supervise and control the process and the quality that the employees have in their work. And the next is about improving the safety and occupational safety culture. You mentioned Goal Zero process. It's an international standard that talks about the way the processes, the safety processes must take place. It's about zero accidents, zero near misses. When we have zero fatalities or incidents. I would like to talk about the use of proactive tools that we use, and would like to tell you what we work with our clients. We have virtual reality technology that enables us to train people without the access to industrial sites, so that people, operators, technological engineers, technicians, for them to be able during the training to see the way the technological process looks like without the actual visit of the factory. We implement now this technology. We have the services that we implement since 2023. We are official providers of the service in Kazakhstan. And large international companies that we work with, like NCOC, KPO, TCO, they follow the strategy on how they can implement VR technologies in order to increase their safety and improve their safety. The key technology of VR technology, the key here is to reduce the number of accidents and fatalities to zero, so 100% of safety. This is our goal that Halliburton company strives for, not only on an international level, but also here in Kazakhstan. And the last aspect that I would like to mention is about digitalization of production processes and repair of equipment. We cooperate and we implement processes related to the use of drones. I consider drones as the key criteria in robotization of industrial processes, as drones enable you to have access to those technological processes that people cannot get access to. It's about aerial survey, 3D modeling, and inspection of the sites or places that it's difficult to get access to. And the main here is operator engineer who works during the night shift, and they implement the inspection of equipment. You know, this is our golden standard, and Halliburton company, we inspect the way the equipment works, the technological parameters that are followed by the equipment. So drones and virtual reality, these are our know-hows that this year, and we also plan to implement them next year, that they will help us to reach 100% of safety at the industrial sites. And it is achievable. It is achievable. That's what we are implementing now. We cooperate with Kazakhstani companies, and this is our top priority in our health and safety and environmental strategy. I have mentioned drones. The monitoring of pipelines increases the reliability of equipment. And of course, the most important aspect is the help, assistance to the operators and people who are on industrial sites. So thank you very much, dear colleagues. Take care of yourself and of your family. Have a nice day. Many thanks, Ms. Kanalieva. The third direction is the prevention of emergencies, as readiness to properly respond at the beginning of emergency, and the coherent and aligned work is a key enabler for the successful work here. And the head of the Crisis and Emergency Preparedness Department, the director of the department is Mr. Kulbasov from NCOC company, will share his experience. Good day, distinguished colleagues. Good day, dear participants of the forum. I'm really glad to attend this forum today, representing our company, NCOC. And I would like to briefly tell you about the system for crisis and emergency situation management. Before I tell you about our system and our approach in the reaction to emergencies, I would like to tell about some aspects, challenges that we face on a daily basis.
We encounter them at our production, around ourselves in everyday life. First of all, it's high content of sulfur, hydrogen sulfide. It's having an adverse effect on our response. We need to bear that in mind to ensure safety of our personnel, or not only personnel, but neighboring environment and immediate neighborhood, high bedrock pressure and high formational ground pressure. And there are other factors that could be classified as harmful production factors. They're plentiful, and they certainly also having its effect on our response. The immediate environment, since we operate in the northern part of the Caspian Sea, there are some natural reserves. There is flora and fauna that we need to take care of. I think you're all aware that in winter time the northern part of the Caspian Sea freezes, and that's also having effect on our response system. How are we going to respond amid these circumstances? On top of that, there is an additional complication, that is the reducing water level in the Caspian Sea. Yeah, I'm sure you all heard about it, and our potential incident scenario that we are drafting and practicing is all also taken into account. As for our approach that we practice in our company, I would like to start with this model. It's a crisis and emergency management model. Why it matters? First of all, we clearly delineate the boundaries between different levels as to what resources we need, who has to be involved, when and at which levels. There are overall 3 levels. If we start from the first one, then it's the basic, the primary one. Something breaks out, something occurs at the site, on site, or near the site, so the services on site are responding. Once there is a need for the company to step in, to intervene, then it's level 2. And at the 3rd level, we have a specialized company that we have contract with. These are international companies and our shareholders. This is our shareholding company that is providing us full support. That's level 3. What's important is to note here that we have 2 areas of response. First of all, it's tactical, and the second one is strategic. The strategic is taken care of by the crisis response team. So they undertake and cover everything what pertains to the factors and emergencies outside of the company with some external extrinsic sources. Everything what belongs to tactical level, so on the ground, on the local level, it's addressed by the site headquarters and the company staff. Another point to highlight is in case of any incident taking place, our team can kick in gradually or immediately, depending on the level. We can engage all our headquarters, all our response teams. Now, speaking of the system that is currently employed, it's fully in line with the international system used for response to emergency situations. It's utilized by all our shareholder company. We started applying it since 2016. It is widely applied by multiple other companies that are in the emergency response business. What's the benefit of it? You might wonder that all the staff that come to us can be instantly involved and onboarded on our headquarters. There's no need to do any extra explanation. Everyone is aware, so it's a formally systemic process. And the main priority is for faceted. There is a peer. There you see it's shown here. It's people, environment, asset, and reputation. That's what it stands for. That's why we have peer over here. So yeah, reputation kind of rests on top of all these priorities coming together. A little bit greater, slightly higher level of details. So that I would like to tell you more at greater length. So this is our headquarters on site. Once there is an incident of the first level, they are the first, so like acting as the first responders. Once it evolves, it escalates up to the second level. Then in the middle, you see the headquarters of our company, and so the headquarters on site will be incorporated, would be seconded to the senior headquarters. The senior headquarters consists of 5 departments. It's the command team, operational team, planning team, logistics team, and financial service. On top, you see a crisis center with the heads of the companies, and the main focus over there is strategic level, strategic perspective. So all this structure can downsize, can scale up. It depends on the size of an emergency we encounter. A good example of the third level, it could be an open fountain at the rig. So that would include not only internal resources, external resources, as well outside the country. An example could be an open well flowing while and a good example of a systemic approach over here. Every headquarters applies a certain approach. We call it our core work, our core function to respond to an emergency. We cannot afford acting sporadically, chaotically. We need to act in a systemic, well-organized manner. It has to be well conceived. So there are steps for the company level that tackles the tactical level, and for the crisis center as well. And to conclude, I just wanted to visually present this bow tie diagram. So that shows how do we respond to an incident, how do we respond to that, and there are two major factors that come into play. There are two spheres, the two realm, if you like. It's readiness and response. So in terms of preparedness, I will not list everything what's written here: creation of a response structure, possible scenarios, response process, documentation. So it's all what embraces preparedness. We do some drills and exercises just like you do as well, that we heard about today. All these trainings, they bring about some knowledge, but how do we imprint that? How do we cement that, if you like? So we continuously provide trainings and drilling opportunities that help us discover some gaps, and then later they are reflected and they inform our plans and our processes. In both cases, in preparedness and response, it's important to note that we need to be guided by the lessons learned, as a result of drillings and exercises and so on. Just two quick examples. As part of our drilling exercise at the headquarters of the company, in worst case scenario, under adverse weather conditions, we need a helicopter to evacuate people from offshore, from the sea or marine rig, but we have nothing in our hands. So this gap was identified during the exercise, and after that we purchased a special vessel that is used to do an emergency evacuation of medical personnel. And we purchased this air cushion vessel. And a second example is the COVID. One of the risks was infection when people were in a confined space, and as you know, all headquarters, they are located in certain places. People come together, so there is a high risk of infecting each other. So therefore we had to switch to an online mode of operation, and ever since then this online format is widely used and tested by the headquarters. These are two short examples that I would like to share with you, speaking of lessons learned. At the end, let me share with you that our top leadership is involved from the very beginning, when we were updating our response structure, and they continuously keep their fingers on the pulse. They keep being involved. Let me finish it with Dale Carnegie quote that an hour of planning done in advance will save you 10 days of actions in the future. Thank you. And now, let me give the floor over to the next speaker, who flew all the way from Scotland to participate in the forum, Mitch Watt, Executive Director of ABROS Training, that provides consulting services as a preparedness effort to disaster relief, and he's ready to share his experience of responding to an emergency. So.
Thank you kindly, friends, colleagues, and possibly now family. Yeah? As you can see from this screen here, today, or this morning, I'm going to talk about emergency preparedness and response. So it's only fair that I tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I'm from Scotland, okay? Secondly, you know, I left school at an early age. And during my career, which has featured the fire service, the Army, international rescue. I have started at the very bottom, at operational level, yes? And all these years of experience, at that time, in uniform, over 30 years experience, I attended the Piper Alpha, 167 people dead. I attended the Lockerbie, which was a terrorist incident, and unfortunately, the plane disintegrated over Scotland. 270 people dead, yeah? After that, during my time in the fire service, I went to work in Texas, in America, post 9/11, to train responders after 9/11 at A&M University in Texas. So, I have vast experience in emergency response and crisis management. And the photographs you see there at the bottom, last year, I was working for the world's largest company, Saudi Aramco. You know, I've worked for Total, Shell, Eni, British Petroleum. Currently, I'm contracted to work with KPO at Karachaganak. So my experience comes from a long way away, yeah? And I'm talking about operational, tactical, and strategic leadership too. So then, one of the things I always say is this. Lots of people in this room here, the majority of people in this room here are all about prevention, preventing accidents and incidents happening. And we spend lots of time on prevention, prevention, prevention. But you know, there is always an opportunity for an incident to escalate to crisis level, disaster level, yes? On the left-hand side of your screen, you see 9/11. Now, since then, this is a security incident. Since then, flying, like most of us do, they've tightened security at airports because this was a willful act of terrorism. The center picture there is an environmental incident. Now, this could be an act or it could be an omission, but you know, it's preventable. The picture nearest me is the earthquake in Christchurch, which my fellow responders attended. International rescue team, which I was a proud member of, they attended all the way from the UK to there, New Zealand, yeah? Now, let's be honest, nobody can prevent an earthquake. So what do we do? This building you see there collapsed because it was an old building, yeah? But nowadays, they build buildings that can withstand an earthquake. So we can't prevent an earthquake, but we can mitigate the circumstances, yeah? We can mitigation. Moving on then, yeah? By definition, you know what an emergency is this. It's a threat to health, life, environment, assets, sustainability, reputation. This is what an emergency situation is, yes? And you know, it always amazes me how sometimes some of the biggest companies in the world, without mentioning any names now, some of the biggest companies in the world spend lots and lots and lots of money on prevention. And the little brother is the response teams, yes? So then, internationally, we have this duty. Number one, your company, my company, your government, my government has these duties. Number one, to prepare emergency response plans. Yes, this is the foundation. Prepare emergency response plans. Also, we have a duty to prevent major accidents or incidents. This is our second duty. But thirdly, we should be able to respond, a proportionate response to deal with the consequences of a major accident or incident. So, you know, some companies I work for, I look at the emergency response plans and wow, if you can't sleep at night, take these plans home. They will send you to sleep. Sometimes the plans go on for pages and pages and pages and pages. But an emergency response plan should be this: suitable, sufficient, cover all eventualities, easy to understand, easy to implement. More importantly, practice, practice, practice. Mind memory, muscle memory, and again, revised and accountable. And people think accountable to who? Well, number one, accountable to me, accountable to my colleagues, accountable to people living around the area, accountable to everyone. You know, I have a granddaughter now, yeah? And when I think about environmental damage, I think about my grandchildren, yes? Not just myself. So, I say to companies, look at this slide here. Honestly, absolutely honesty, In a piece of paper, I say to them, write down where you think your company is on this slide. You know? And I second guess what they're going to say. Nobody has ever said, we're up at number 10. Nobody has ever said this, yeah? I won't tell you what the answer is, but I can assure you, once they give me an answer, this is good. This is a starting point, because we need to achieve 10. Every day we need to achieve 10. So, can we simplify emergency response plans? Yes? Earlier on, we heard from Aristana. You know, the aircraft industry is inherently safe. You have redundancy standards, etc., etc., yes? But when I got on an aircraft, and incidentally, tomorrow morning, I'm flying back to Scotland. When I get on an aircraft, you know, I don't need to know how to fly an Airbus. I don't need to know the mechanics of the engines or the flaps. I don't need to know this. All I need to do is this. In the event of emergency, yes, these are your exits. This is your life vest, for instance, yeah? It can be simplified. We should simplify emergency response plans so they are more like flowcharts, more pictograms, because everywhere in the world, we're talking different languages. This is maybe too simple, yes? Maybe too simple. Maybe for some people not, but maybe this is too simple. However, we look at typical things like gas release, spillage, radiation, fire, explosion, other emergencies. Do you know something? I have a slide with 30 different things you probably never thought of, yeah? Pandemic, we mentioned this, civil unrest, cyber threat, etc., military action, yes? Government's been overthrown. All these things we should be planning for now and not retrospectively. We shouldn't be writing a pandemic ERP after the pandemic started. This is like closing the stable door. The horse is already on the way, yeah? We should be thinking ahead. And you know, HSE people are very, very good at prevention. But specialists, emergency response, crisis management consultants, we do this every single day. And we bring a massive knowledge of experience, yeah? Over time, over incidents attended, etc., etc. So, I ask you now to think on HSE and also threats and risks to your company. Think first of all, should we carry out a risk analysis? Should we say, what are the risks here, yeah? What is the likelihood? What's the severity? And think out with the box. Don't always think about production, for instance, yeah? Think out with the box about threats and risks. Compile a risk register, and then say, how well are we prepared to handle this incident if it were to happen tomorrow? Look at the plausibility, yeah? And this is where I think, and I genuinely believe, that HSE and emergency response people must coordinate their actions. They must sit down with crisis management specialists. They must sit down and say, whoa, let's look at your system. Can it be better? Can we test it? Can we stress test your system? Let's see where you are. Because you know, it's okay to make mistakes. Because when we make mistakes, we learn from our mistakes, yes? And situational awareness. 2 days ago, the British government published their threats and risks. You can go online and look at it, yeah? And they have said this, for instance, they've published over 90 different threats and risks to the UK. But they're now saying within the next 5 years, there is a 5 to 25% chance of another pandemic. This doesn't just mean financial destruction for the UK. This means people's lives, responders' lives, etc., etc., yeah? So it's very valuable to look at threats and risks to your business and see where your vulnerabilities are. Because for sure, you will have vulnerabilities, and this is what the problem is. So, recently, as I say, I've been working here for KPO. I first started with KPO 2007 as the emergency response manager, and I fly in, fly out, and I do consultancy for them. I sometimes fly to Saudi Arabia. I go all around the world doing consultancy, crisis management, emergency response. Anyway, I would think, yeah, that's enough for this just now. It's soon be lunchtime. First of all, thank you for your attendance, and importantly, thank you for my Scottish translator. Yeah, Scottish translator over there. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Watt. Огромное спасибо всем.
Thank you very much to all our guests from abroad, and to all our representatives of foreign and Kazakhstani companies. Thank you everyone who shared their thoughts, vision, experience today. And I would like to invite to the stage, in order to sum up the results of today's forum, I'd like to invite the Managing Director on Corporate Governance and Social and Labor Relations and Health and Safety of Samruk-Kazyna, Mr. Auganov Gibrat. Distinguished colleagues, as it has been said, Samruk-Kazyna conducts this forum already for the second time, and I think it will be conducted every year. Our speakers talked a lot about the issues we have in the area of HSE. We have subsidiaries in Samruk-Kazyna, and their representatives are here. They also mentioned these issues. And every company in Samruk-Kazyna contributes to the improvements of health and safety. We have listened to local experts, international experts who shared their vision, experience during these 2 hours. We had here representatives of our subsidiaries from different regions of our country. There were also representatives of state authorities that shared their vision, talked about digitalization and other tools. And Mr. Zhamyshev also mentioned the resources that will be used for this. There were proposals from the state authorities in this regard. We had representatives of large industrial companies. We have 7 golden rules. And we have the processes that we have implemented in our companies in order to follow these golden rules, and our leaders are personally committed to implement all these health and safety rules. And I would like for all the companies to share the issues that we have in this area, health and safety. At any production site, we have various threats, risks. Sometimes we can face situations that shouldn't have happened at all. Oh, it's not that easy, but only the safety culture will help us to avoid this type of problems and issues, and it will help us to protect the lives of our employees. And today, after lunch, we will continue the discussion of the issues that happened at various industrial sites this year. In our company, we have a plan composed of 38 items, activities. We are going to follow this plan, and I hope that it will give us positive results. 2 days ago, we visited the Kazakhgas, the representative of Kazakhstan left us, but we were together at this event. It was about measures to prevent accidents. It was called Stop Road Accidents. There were simple things like fastening seatbelts. I understood that there are no minor things related to safety. Even while in the taxi, we must fasten our seatbelts. This is a safety culture, and these elements, they must be followed on a routine basis, on a daily basis. Our speakers have shown us new approaches and technologies that they use in order to ensure health and safety. I would like to repeat, the top priority for us is life and health of our employees, and our top manager highlighted this in his speech. Unfortunately, indicators of some of our subsidiary companies show that we have had fatal, lethal accidents at our industrial sites. Here today, we have discussed various tools and measures that we can use in order to prevent this type of situations. But our ultimate goal is zero accidents. We have here top managers. If you have any questions or comments, and if our leaders, top managers are ready to share their knowledge, their experience. Distinguished colleagues, we must focus all our efforts on the ensuring health and safety, and I think today's forum will be helpful in this regard. Thank you. Many thanks, Mr. Auganov. Well, I would like to extend my gratitude to all of you, distinguished participants of this forum, for your daily meticulous work you do in order to ensure safety. Well, I suspect that many of you have to deal with the mindset, unwillingness to change of some employees. And you do this in order to ensure their safety. As it has been said today, you do this in order for every employee to come back every day to their family, safe and sound. So the official part of the forum is over. After the lunch, for CO-1 managers, there will be a session, practical session for them in this hall. So I wish you safe work. All the best.